Welcome to episode 9 of Comic Book Nation, the official podcast of Comicbook.com. I am still here, your host, Kofi Outlaw, and still riding with me is Matthew Mueller.
Wow.
I got stuck on your name a little bit there. I got stuck.
Are you sure I'm still here for the last show? Do you recognize me?
I don't know. I got stuck on your name a little bit. I got stuck on your name.
It's all good. What's up, everybody?
And still out, and apparently we're going to have be out for a while, is our third host, Brandon Davis. He's out in the field doing a bunch of crazy stuff for us that he's going to bring back for springtime for you guys. But that means we're going to have a rotating series of hosts with our wonderful comic book staff. We've already had 2, and now here's our third host from the staff pool, anime queen herself, Megan Peters.
Konnichiwa.
Oh boy, here we go.
Wow,
here we go.
If you're gonna introduce me as anime queen, like I gotta show out.
That's like a fitting description of.
It's a good title.
What goes
it was
on
that
here.
or like a solid Kamehameha, but I have to work up to that.
Okay.
No one knows.
What's
me yet.
my title? You didn't make a
Still
cool...
here. Still here is your
That's
title.
probably my title. That's
Still
accurate.
here.
That's
Still
fair.
here.
That's
No,
fair.
Power Rangers expert or Power Rangers or
Is that my
honorary
thing?
Ranger. Yeah.
I just was like,
You and Zack Ryder share the same hashtag.
hey, there are worse things.
All
There are
right.
worse things. Thank you very much.
So, getting into what we're actually going to be doing today. We are going to take a trip back through the Oscars, which were just held this weekend. We are going to discuss the new Detective Pikachu trailer, which is just filled with Pokemon and all kinds of good stuff that Megan's going to help us break down. And we're going to get into something a little serious this week and talk about something that's going on in the industry, the controversy surrounding review bombing. So, Comic Book Nation, let's get to it. First up, before we get into anything we talk about, I'm just going to drop a quick PSA from time to time. I'm going to do this. Just a reminder that as of today, we are just 2 months away from Avengers Endgame hitting theaters. Marvel dropped a nice little teaser. Didn't show if anything. Don't expect anything like that. Just to remind us that, yeah, we're in the 2-month countdown to when Endgame is going to hit theaters, which is crazy. I mean, the time has gone so fast.
I know.
From when Infinity War was here, but I mean, it's like been slow and fast at the same time. But yeah, and I think I wrote about it in the article that's on the site about this kind of 2-month teaser. But at this point, this is all I need is just remind me, like, now there are 7 weeks. Now there are 6 weeks. Don't show me anything. I don't need to see another trailer. I don't need the usual kind of
But you don't
onslaught.
want to even? You don't even want
No,
to
I don't
see a little
want
bit
to.
of footage?
No, I don't. I thought about it when I was
No.
seeing that 2 months, and I'm like, if we're at 2 months now, and we've gone this long and not seen anything, like, let's just finish it out. Why not? But I mean, I don't want, like, but remember Marvel marketing? Like, right now, we're saying this in the context of living in a slew of Captain Marvel
Yes.
TV spots that are hitting us now, like, every hour, and we're covering over here at Comicbook.com. And I just don't need that for Endgame. We're all going to see this movie.
Oh, yeah.
Just keep showing me the Super Bowl spot or show me another 15-second spot just like that. That's just from the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
And just let's keep it moving. But I don't even need it anymore. But just a reminder, 2 months, guys, and then we're going to have plenty to talk about on this podcast when we get to that. We're going to start planning a kind of Avengers-sized episode, I guess. But that's
Can
discussion.
we have an Endgame like cheese party, like something like that? Some kind of cool get together.
I sometimes just don't know where you come from. Like, do you really come from Oa? Like, I don't know.
I mean, there could be like trivia involved.
Like an Avengers potluck.
Well, we'll discuss this behind the
yeah.
scenes and get
Would
back
you go?
to you guys.
If we had trivia about the Winter Soldier,
Boom. See? She's up.
I'll
We'll
win,
discuss behind the
but-
scenes and get back to you guys with something actually entertaining involving all this in the coming weeks. But right now we're going to move on because we're going to talk about the Oscars. But we're not going to talk about the whole thing because we don't got time and we don't have care. We're going to talk about the parts that are relevant to us in the Comic Book Nation audience. So let's get into it. So for us, if you are a comic book movie, superhero movie fan going into the Oscars this year, of course, there was a lot to be excited about. Marvel was up for not just technical awards this year, but some big awards, including Best Picture of the Year for Black Panther. There was another Marvel movie, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, up for an animated film Oscar. And yeah, just a bunch of stuff in between. So let's talk about how it all panned out, and then some of just the fun anecdotes that had to do with like comic books or comic book movie stars during the Oscars, because there were plenty of them. So first up, Black Panther. It did not get Best Picture. That went to Green Book, which will break down that whole thing. But it did win 3 awards. So it brought home the Marvel Cinematic Universe's first Oscars for Best Achievement in Music Written for Motion Pictures, Best Achievement in Costume Design, and Best Achievement in Production and Design. which are three that, you thought, okay, yeah, those are, this was kind of the Oscars where everybody got some kind of participation award, right? Everybody, all these films were kind of handed something, and yeah.
To be fair, those are more than participation awards.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
Those are some pretty solid awards.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
it's not like, oh, hey, you existed. Here's an award.
No.
Like, it's pretty good.
No, these are legit awards by like really good talents that, I always have, trust me, I have the utmost respect for like production designers, costume designers, makeup artists. Like those people really bring the movies alive and they're unsung heroes. They were going to cut like cinematography and makeup from.
Yeah, I know. I'm amazed they made the show.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that'd have been some big moments for Marvel if they cut some of these awards categories, down. So that was good. So the Marvel Cinematic Universe now has Oscars, which is good. It can now stand alongside the DCEU as an Oscar winner. I'm just kidding. I'm just trolling. I am just trolling, and I am so sorry for that subject.
You're
not sorry. Don't
I know. I really am.
No,
That's paint. No. We don't need to talk about.
Never apologize for Suicide Squad.
So yeah. So Black Panther brought home 3 for the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and Sony's Marvel Universe character box or whatever they call it, Sony's universe of Marvel characters, even got its Oscar for Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, which I think we all can agree up here that was like really well deserved. That movie should have won. It gave me a lot of feels. It was one of the best like superhero movies I've saw. And again, I've said it before that I took my daughter to see that on Christmas Eve, and it was like the first time she's been to 2 movies, like Teen Titans Go to the Movies and Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, and this one is the first time I saw like the movie magic activate in her eyes when she saw Spider-Gwen like come onto the screen. She was kind of running around the theater, but when she saw that scene, she was just like, whoa, and like just sat up and like cuddled up with me, and we had a great watch. So I'm very glad that movie won, even though it's going to give Sony way big head. They're going to be going for some crazy stuff for Venom 2 now.
Well, but it did fine at the box office, right? It's more critically acclaimed than commercially.
Yeah,
definitely.
Right? Okay.
I was conflicted because also in the category was Mirai no Mirai, which was an amazing anime film that came out. Obviously, anime queen here have to rep. I saw that movie twice in theaters, but I also saw Spider-Verse like 4 times, like twice in one day. So my loyalties were very split. But
that's all right.
Spider-Verse is definitely edging it out. But Mirai, that one I thought, if there was going to be an upset, it would have been that.
No, well, I didn't see that film, so I'm not into it.
It's by the creator of The Girl Who Leapt Through Time, if anyone's familiar with that. It's pretty famous.
So that was a good part. There were some bad parts, of course. This is the Marvel fandom, so we can't walk away completely happy with anything. But there was some sting because Black Panther did. It's not that it just lost Best Picture, but it lost to Green Book, which, there were several films in Best Picture that had heavy things to do with blackness or African American experience or that. There's Black Klansman, Black Panther, and Green Book.
Which was my personal vote for Best Picture win.
What?
Was Klansman. Black
Yeah, me too. I kind of wanted Black Klansman to win. I would have taken The Favorite. I would have taken Roma for the film school nerd inside.
And if you haven't watched Spike Lee's after interview, you totally should YouTube that. Yeah. It's amazing.
And there's like that clip of like Chadwick Boseman reacting.
Oh yeah, we're gonna get to that. So Black Panther lost, but Chadwick Boseman managed to maybe win the night or come close, runner up for winning the night. With, we put it on the site. There is a wonderful moment of shade when the producers and stars of Green Book are going to the stage because they just got announced as Best Picture winner. And you just see in the crowd Chadwick Boseman turn to, I guess, like a friend of his or somebody behind him with a look like, okay. Okay. You know that Jennifer Lawrence gif? Like, okay. Like, one of those. He may have been turning to look at Coogler.
That would make sense.
Yeah, this would only make sense.
Yeah, and he was just like, all right, whatever, man. Like, he's ready to go home.
The expression is perfect,
Because he's a consummate professional, so it's not like overly emotional or angry. It's like this just snarky, sly, perfect T'Challa look. Like, I do not understand the West. Like, it's great. But yeah, that was one great. But I say he was only maybe runner-up for winner of the night because winner of the night pretty much goes to Captain America star and Megan's personal hero, Chris Evans, who, when actress Regina King won for Best Supporting Actress for If Beale Street Could Talk, and she was going to stage, and she had a wonderful gown on, but she was in that moment of Oscar headlights, deer in headlights moment, and she kind of started getting tangled in her dress and stumbling. And Chris Evans jumped up out of his seat and, as a lot of people have noted, because there's been like intense breakdown of his entire body language and movements in that moment. But like, he didn't.
Must have been written by Megan.
He was like totally, I mean, Captain America. He didn't try to like put his hands on her, grab her waist, or do anything. He just like put out his arm, let her kind of grab hold of it, and then just helped her onto the stage. And I mean, it's not like he was like hurting for admirers before this moment, but he just tripled his admiration levels right after that, because that's some real life Captain America is right there.
That dude is Captain America.
I mean, he just is. Like, literally, Marvel Studios was like, yes, we know you are going to metamorphosize into Captain America, and that is exactly what has happened.
Yeah, and the beard was there for support and everything.
Oh, the beard.
I don't know if he could have knocked out that angle of arm support without the beard balancing out his face. So that was good that it was there.
No, the beard is back. I wish someone had warned me, because when that came up on my Twitter feed, it was just like, you need to shut my computer and have like an alone moment to just breathe. It's back. It's here.
At least the mustache is gone.
Oh, that was an
I did not like that phase. But it was for a movie. It's fine. But I just was like...
Yeah, the mustache with the beard is a plea. I just love how Chris Evans is so aware of that mustache being just like a piece of his dark past already.
I mean, how can you have it?
Oh, yeah, somebody used it for like an article about him, and he went online and was like even making fun of himself about it.
Yeah, like, what did I ever do to you?
Yeah,
it's like, well, you grew that mustache. That's what you did.
So the last bit of controversy surrounding the Oscars and with Marvel fans was, of course, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse won, as we said, but in the speech, one of the producers, they actually cut off, the one Oscar speech that got cut off, basically, like majorly cut off, was that. And it was right before he was going to give a whole thank you to Stan Lee and Steve Ditko, the creators of Spider-Man. And so that got cut, and you better believe that Marvel fans noticed. But they did release his statement later, like a bunch of outlets, including us. We picked it up and just said what he was going to say, and it wasn't like conspiracy or big time in it. They had a whole thing. It just came at the end, and I think some of the people before him maybe were a little bit too enthusiastic and went on for too long before getting to that main part you might want to get to. So, yeah, not so much controversy there, but just kind of
a hiccup.
Yeah, a hiccup, a faux pas with Marvel fans. And I didn't say fax pass or something like that. Faux pas.
I didn't say anything.
Whoa, that was a direct attack.
Yeah.
Wow, that really was.
So, yeah. So that's it. I mean, and that's about all we cared about the Oscars, right? Was there anything else? Anybody really?
Tina Fey and Amy Poehler and Maya Rudolph's thing was cool.
Yeah, I mean the general comedy presenter.
Other than that,
I mean for the Comic Book Nation people, not
you said in general.
I mean, Paul Rudd still hasn't aged in about 30 years, so that's pretty good.
Paul Rudd hasn't aged. Like,
bless him.
I swear to God, that man must go to bed in the quantum realm every night and just like pop out in a new timeline just to kind of.
That's the secret of Endgame.
Yeah, it's crazy.
He just slept in the quantum realm, became super powerful.
We'd love to see him and Pharrell do a guest spot on what we do. What we do on the shadows. That's just like real life vampires.
That dude forever looks 12.
Yeah, it's crazy. All right, so that's the Oscars, and that's about it. And maybe, hopefully, I mean, after this year, who knows what might happen next year? Maybe more comic book movies. I mean, I could see some this year that are coming out, definitely, like Joker. I'd be interested.
I was gonna say Joker's the one I'm kind of keyed in on.
Joker would be the most like archetypal.
Endgame gets. I mean, that was a big snub. Oh, we almost left out. Yeah, Avengers: Infinity War did not get an Oscar for visual effects. That went to First Man, and you better believe that pissed a lot of Marvel fans off. But it's a weird debate. Some people are like all about it and like, Endgame should have gotten it. Other people are like, no, some of the scenes were shoddy CGI. It didn't deserve it. First Man all the way. And it's just like, I don't know. I'm not going to weigh in on that.
But don't movies like First Man, things like Gravity, like those movies are very much always in the discussion for like best visual. There's just something about space and seeing like, there's just something about it I think automatically makes it a front runner. Whether it deserves it or not, it automatically does. And
the scale of the two films is just entirely different with what they were trying to accomplish with CGI too.
Yeah. So we'll let you guys tell us what you think about that Infinity War snub, but we'll see if Endgame can't come back around next year and maybe nab a few more for Marvel. We'll see what Joker does for DC, and if there's anything in between, any other projects.
Who knows? Maybe Shazam.
Oh my gosh. Moving right along. Stay tuned because we're going to break down the new Detective Pikachu trailer and discuss the controversy over review bombing, which is currently plaguing the industry. All right. So, Megan, this is your time to shine. We brought on the queen of anime today to talk about this crazy new Detective Pikachu trailer that dropped. First of all, did we know this was coming today, or did it just kind of come out of...
Yeah, so Ryan Reynolds bequeathed us with his presence on Twitter with a beautiful, behind-the-scenes featurette of how he deeply got into the role of Pikachu. So he did let us know this was coming. Didn't know exactly when, had a feeling it would be in the morning. With Pokemon Day coming up this week, excitement for this franchise is just stupid huge right now. And so when it came, fans are ready. We had a poster drop right before that had plenty of Easter eggs in it for Rhyme City. And then the trailer came and the internet exploded.
Yeah, I mean, we were busy just dissecting this poster, like thinking we were getting some big insights, and then this whole trailer dropped and it was just like, here it is. Boom.
Yeah, we were all like, oh man, this poster is going to have like so much stuff in it. We're like dissecting. We finally found Mewtwo, and when we were so excited, then the trailer drops. And then we have Mewtwo in all of his psychic glory, and I'm just like crying because there's my child.
I mean, talk about so take us through what we saw in this trailer. I mean, the premise, if you don't know about Detective Pikachu, is like the kid from the Get Down and Bumblebee meets Pikachu, who's Ryan Reynolds, and they're investigating something, and that's about as far as I've gotten.
Yes.
This new trailer had, but if you're a longtime fan of Pokemon, like this new trailer was, I mean, some crazy reveals, cameos, Easter eggs. Can you walk us through some of that?
So, I mean, basically, this trailer begins with the reveal that we finally get a Pikachu. So we've been wondering what's going on other than the fact that, this thing sounds like Ryan Reynolds, which is both hilarious and disconcerting, but I'm still going to pay to see it. We learned that, this Pikachu has amnesia. It only knew to go to this apartment belonging to a detective named Harry, where, we meet Harry's son, Tim, and we're trying to figure out where Harry went. He's missing. He's presumed dead, actually, in a car crash. But Pikachu, he doesn't think that's the case. So we're trying to find Harry. Well, Tim wants to know where his dad is. Pikachu wants to get his memories back. And then all this is happening. Pokemon are going missing all throughout Rhyme City. And most importantly, it seems like some of them are just going on rampages. We see a couple shots of Charizard, which we've seen before, going crazy, as well as an Apom, who is like adorable usually. So please don't think all Apoms are scary. They're actually really cute. The little purple monkey creatures. They just start going crazy.
And that's where like the purple eyes come from, right?
Yeah. So the biggest thing probably the theory to pull from this, because I'm a conspiracy theorist on all things Pokemon, real talk, is that in the clips we see like Charizard and Apom, they have these like glowing purple eyes. That's not usual. That's not what they're supposed to have. No spoilers for anything in the game, but there is a relationship in the lore of Pokemon for what reasoning that could be, and it has to do with Mewtwo. And so then when Mewtwo appeared at the end of the trailer, fans were curious about how Mewtwo might be, orchestrating this entire thing. Because if you know anything about the original anime movie that Mewtwo appeared in.
Yeah, actually, that's like the one thing I actually saw.
Yeah. I mean, if you've seen the Pokemon the movie, Mewtwo has like a serious grudge against humanity and Pokemon and their relationship with one another. He doesn't like trainers kind of exerting their will over Pokemon. And Rhyme City is the kind of inaugural, like, representative city of, like, Pokemon and humanity, like, living in harmony. So for him to target that place is pretty telling, if that's exactly what's going on. We didn't get to see much of Mewtwo other than him just wrecking what looks like a Macy's Thanksgiving Day Pikachu balloon.
Poor balloon.
A poor balloon. Like, rip. That's so expensive. Like, we don't really know what he's doing, but if he's willing to destroy that piece of American treasure, he can't be doing anything too great.
So far, I mean, I kind of find it like you stated it. It's going to be funny to have Ryan Reynolds doing this voice, but it's also kind of disconcerting because I'm just like, I grew up loosely around the original anime series when it aired on American TV. Like I was like in high school, so I was into like other things than that at the time. But, I was still close enough to like middle schoolers and stuff who were obsessed with this to kind of just get the gist and catch a few episodes here and there. And this is, I mean, I'm used to hearing Pikachu have a specific voice and only saying things like, Pika Pika and all that stuff and, different tones with that. So this is kind of going to be really weird experience in that sense. But it is Ryan Reynolds, and there's a thing like where he's saying, "Get me the hell out of here" in one scene in the trailer. Like,
Yeah.
you know, it's kind of funny to add to Pikachu that I can see it being very charming. I got to say, I mean, the live action adaptation of Pokemon in the movie is really good. And how they've created this almost like seamless rhyme city where the humans and the Pokemon are kind of interacting.
Snorlax is just sitting
Yeah.
in the middle of the street, and
Yeah.
it's
I just
amazing.
need to know if that street's named Route 100. We can't see any street signs, but like I need to know. And also, if someone doesn't show up with a Poke Flute and try to like charm Snorlax up off that street, what's the
Missed
point?
opportunity.
Missed opportunity, and what's the point?
I feel like this movie is going to be wall-to-wall Easter eggs for
Oh,
Pokemon fans,
absolutely.
like, just stuff like you're describing. The thing I got to say about it, though, is...
Oh no, I don't like
Let's
that.
get it.
It's very. It has a very pessimistic tone. You have a very. It's a tone.
Whoa.
Sense it.
Okay. I was just going to talk about real talk about things that are happening. I mean, we have some. I mean, this movie is creating quite a debate in the comic book offices. Like, we're already. It's on Twitter. It's on record. Producer Jim Viscardi kind of took all
God.
our predictions. We had a big office debate about, you know, amongst all the things we yell at each other about in this office.
$2 billion.
How much money
Man.
will Detective Pikachu kind of make in its theatrical run? And this is just kind of a conversation that's just based about our expectations of what is going to happen with this franchise when this movie comes. My pick was producer Jim Viscardi says $2 billion, which kind of kicked off this whole crazy betting rundown. I'm leaning more towards the 1.3 billion range.
Oh, you're lower. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm lower.
I'm
I mean,
1.4.
but like, when did we start pretending that 1.3 billion dollars for a movie was like something to sneeze at?
But I think a lot of us overshot because Jim
what's yours?
Went
We just-
2
we
billion.
just went.
1.4.
And what's yours?
Now, see, I was having surgery when this debate happened.
Okay.
So this is, you know, I saw it on Twitter and I was like, okay.
Okay,
yes,
well now
I
let's
understand.
make. I mean, Queen
Now,
of Anime. You're on
Queen
the
of
Comic
Anime.
Book Nation. Let's hear
Yes,
your official
yes.
prediction.
You know, I'm thinking probably closer to Kofi's estimate. You know, we were between like 1.25 and like 1.3 sounds about right.
Yeah.
I think definitely this has the franchisal opportunity that Warner Brothers would love to get its
Yeah.
hands on. Pokemon obviously has a massive fan base, not just in America, but I mean, globally, it is still such a massive program. Japan, I mean, Pikachu is one of the cultural mascots for the 2020 Tokyo Olympics with Goku and Sailor Moon. I mean, this character, this franchise is very much still a very prevalent thing. It's just going to crush. As soon as it gets to China
Yeah.
and it gets overseas and Korea and all those, you know, broader areas, it's just going to bulldoze.
Ironically, one of our biggest Pokemon people was the lowest on the chart, which was Christian Hoffer saying it was going to be.
What did he say?
It was like, yeah.
Yeah.
75.
I mean, like, but like 775 was Christian's number.
775. I was like-
Who's been covering Pokemon
Yeah.
for us for years
It's
now.
so
Like, yeah.
low compared to all of ours.
Okay, yeah, but that's the thing. Like me, Megan, Christian, like we are giving predictions of a very successful franchise starter. The Jim Viscardis and Brandon Davises of the world are just taking the money that like a highly anticipated sequel makes, and it's just like, no, Pokemon's gonna do this, like $2 billion. Like
That's
if
Pokemon
if
Endgame.
Detective Pikachu does $2 million, Marvel should just fold it up and just be like, man, all right, like
It
we're
took
at-
us
we
10 years.
10 years, and we had to
If
do
that
Infinity
happens,
War to do
if that happens, Marvel Studios just needs to decide how they can adapt Dragon Ball Z to a
exactly.
live action
Or
series.
bring Darkhawk in because that will solve all our issues.
Just keep your Dark Hawk. We
That's
want to be a
can of worms.
successful podcast. If you want to go sit in the basement and do your Dark Hawk podcast with you and your 100 subscribers,
You know,
like
you want to know what's great about? Hey, don't hate on my channel.
no, I just gave you a very generous
Yeah.
size of a Dark Hawk podcast.
Fans of darkhawk.com, go there.
I was being generous.
I don't think that's actually a real site, so don't go there. You don't know what you'll find.
What have
But
you done?
what I will say, back to Pokemon, is that you know something. I see Pokemon and I think of when my mom first discovered Pokemon and associated me with one and said, "Oh my God, you know what Pokemon are?" And I was like, "Yeah." And she was like, "Oh, I saw one and I thought of you." And then she sent me a picture of a Snorlax. And I went, "Do you understand how like this is like insulting, right? Because what does a Snorlax do?" And she's like, "But he's so cute." And so now forever, I am literally the Pokemon that sits there, falls asleep, and has to be like played music to get up again.
Well, I think you just Liam Neeson'd yourself by telling the
I did
public
tell
that story.
I tell
You just
stories.
earned your name like a nickname, Snorlax.
But here's the thing:
congratulations.
he's sort of become my favorite because of that, and so I now adore Snorlax. There
I mean,
you
if
go.
you have to pick a favorite, also, I mean, there's been the conversations online of like how these live action Pokemon look versus their anime counterparts or their even in-game counterparts. Snorlax is definitely one of the actual like Detective Pikachu like mock-ups of a live action Pokemon that I'm like, that is way more adorable than anything the anime could have come up with. It's just so fluff. Like, it is a fluff ball.
Yeah,
it's
just.
I mean, I think that technically this movie looks great. And yeah, I'm just a little bit more hesitant than some about, you know, getting, I mean, how much appeal it has. I mean, 1.3 billion is a lot of appeal. That's you really servicing your fan base, your core fan base, and having them come back repeat times and attracting a sizable new audience. And I think it can definitely happen. As you said, I mean, we all started here like in this wave of, you know, new comic book phase when Pokemon Go really was hitting. And I just remember how crazy that whole thing was when it initially happened. So, like, yeah, the potential's there, but I'm going to be interested to see. But this was a great trailer. I mean, if nothing else, just to wrap it back up and bring it around, this was a great trailer.
Yeah.
Good sell for this movie, and I'm going to be really interested to see. I mean, we all are, because we all talked a lot of trash, and it's all on Twitter now, so we are really interested to see how this movie does. All right. Moving right along, Megan, I guess you can stay since you've been here. I'm just kidding.
Hey,
we love to have you.
Hey, we're about to talk Captain Marvel. Right?
Yeah,
That's right.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
are. So you can stay. Wow.
Oh, I got
Ooh, don't
lots
do that
to
to me.
say.
Don't do that to me. Don't throw me under the bus like that. Yes. We will be keeping our female pundit for this Captain Marvel discussion. I'm not going to Brandon Davis this whole thing. Let's do this.
Boom, boom.
Here we go. Let's talk about a big controversy.
God.
We usually try
Every
to stick
time.
to topics, you know, about, you know, shows, movies, stuff like that. But every now and again, we got to break off and talk about larger things happening in the industry. And I think today is one of them. So we have, I mean, you didn't think we could cook up a new controversy in film circles, but here we've managed to do it. And the latest one has to do with something called review bombing. And review bombing, if you don't know or unaware, is basically when now people are going to some of those popular aggregate review sites that we're not going to mention because they're competitors and we don't get paid by them. But you know who they are and you know what they are. And they let audience members rate movies. And they've been doing this and they let them rate it. And some of them do like anticipation for movies and stuff like that. But there's been this increasing trend online where either it's on social media or now at these aggregate sites where people go in and purposefully sabotage review scores. They leave negative I mean, I don't think it happens that much in the positive. I mean,
No, and they've been doing it
does,
on,
but, like,
you know, they've been doing it on other sites forever as far as products. They'll go and give bad reviews.
I mean, it happens on everything, on
Yeah.
Amazon, on Yelp for places, like, on anything. And they go in for movie scores and they just are trying to tank certain movies, usually for socio-political reasons. And the two examples we're talking about today are, of course, Marvel's Captain Marvel movie and Star Wars Episode 9. And yeah, both of these have seen reviewers going in and trying to create these negative first impressions by creating these low review scores, audience review scores. And it really, it got so bad that it's prompted an entire discussion about how this is going down, why this is going down. And now some of these sites are taking corrective measures as we're reporting today. The whole audience review score is kind of getting retooled so that it can't be done before a movie is out, which I never understood that. Like trying to gauge anticipation and all that stuff. I mean, I guess I shouldn't say that around here since we do have anticipation meters. But yeah, for like big sites letting just like the wild internet come in and do this always seemed like a bad idea. And now it's turned out to be. But I wanted to talk about review bombing because, I mean, of course I want to get you guys' thoughts on this, but also it raises kind of the larger point that we've been coming back to for the last few years, which is this whole aggregate system of reviewing stuff and reviewing movies and TV shows. I personally, I'm not a fan. I went to film school. I was I've been a film critic for about 10 years. I've like one of those heady film critics that spends a lot of time actually writing reviews and really struggling with these things. And I mean, I'm one of those people, if you must know, who's like a purist who doesn't want to put a score at the end.
Yeah.
Like, because I said, I just put 3 hours and 1,000 words into this and a bunch of thoughts that I had to get out, clean up for you. Like, just read it and, you know, take a chance to just read the piece, come with me, and, you know, let's go through this together. I don't want you to be able to just scroll down and see A, B, C, or something like that. And I'm not a fan of big review aggregates. I mean, I accept them as a reality.
Yeah.
Because I tried to fight that tide, and I lost horribly many years ago. So, I mean, I actually tried to, you know, fight against this, and like I said, I lost. So this is where we're at. But, I mean, yeah, this is the kind of dark side of it, is now people just getting so angry, these keyboard warriors, about a movie because it stars a girl, or they didn't like the last one and they don't know if they're going to like this one and they just want to hurt the franchise. And that's, like you said, that's never changed.
Yeah.
I think the problem has become our reliance on these things. Like now having a certain score at a certain site is a legitimate marketing goal of a movie, and it actually does affect the box office and interest and things like that.
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
Yeah, because as we've seen with Black Panther, was also the target of one of these, and it didn't seem to hurt it there.
No, because I think, but in that case, I think that was unique because there was a community behind that film that was overwhelmingly bigger and more passionate in its positivity than the haters were in their negativity. Like, you can leave a bad review store, but you can't stop a kid from going to see Black Panther 3 times like he did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope that's the case with Captain Marvel being
Discussing it and putting it up and celebrating it online. Like we saw, I mean, the celebration and just the utter zeitgeist created from that film was
But I
nuts.
think Captain Marvel has had some of the same issues that Black Panther had, in the fact that some of the issues a certain pocket of idiots are taking is that anything with when someone takes a stand for people of color, gender, all of a sudden they become a target. They don't like them, and then you get all the, I'm trying not to cuss. you try and get a bunch of stuff. You get all the SJW mess, and you get all the, they're politicizing the movie, and that has really stirred the Captain Marvel thing. It's less about, I see those that like movie looks boring, but it's more about a political stance.
Yeah.
The same way though, Black Panther had they're building this up because it's, this isn't a movie for everybody else. It's only a movie for, African Americans. There was that on.
Oh yeah.
But it ended up not really mattering in the end, even though they had the same thing. So I hope we've seen that that can be overcome. So I hope the same is for this. I am happy that they're actually starting to make some changes.
Yeah.
It's been needed for years.
Oh yeah.
And I think one issue is also the echo chamber effect you get with these aggregate sites and also social media. Because, when I talk to, believe it or not, there are some people our age who don't live on Twitter or Facebook. What? I know. It's like, whoa. But like when I talk with them or any of them, they are so excited to see Captain Marvel, or like all they do is ask me about like Star Wars theories and like what I think. And then when I tell them about this, they're just so confused. Like they have no understanding. But since, people who are so invested in these stories and these franchises, invest heavily in accounts and follow, I think the echo chamber effect does kind of breed that, level of intensity that these review bombers are getting, which is also something to be discussed and to kind of keep in mind when you're trying to face the issues, which are very real, but also how loud are they in real life.
I just worry about me in all this. To make it egotistical, I just worry about me in all this. I feel like it's making me cynical. Like, I feel like we're running out of fandom left that's not toxic. Like,
But it's always been that way.
It's always been a little.
They now all have, more than dial-up. Like that's how it is. It's always been that way. They just didn't have an outlet, right? And now they do. And now they have their own website.
Now they've organized and they have plans.
And they lead followers, and it's
They have GoFundMe.
Yeah, they have
Oh
resources.
my God, there's so much to do outside, guys. Like, there's a whole world
As for
out there.
I personally always dislike and this has been going on in the gaming industry as well for forever, right?
Absolutely.
Let's not even open that coffee.
Yeah, right.
That
Like
is
Mass Effect being, that whole studio being told, "Hey, make a new ending because this ending I don't like it." Like it's that type of entitlement that breeds this. Star Wars has been the same way. It's because it wasn't your thing, evidently, which means you have to go raise money to have them redo the movie, right? That whole stupid campaign. I don't understand that, I guess. Like, I don't understand just saying, "Oh, that's not for me," and moving on. I don't understand the mentality, but.
Do you think these changes that are being made, like keeping audiences from reviewing things before they come out, do you think that's going to have a heavy impact on this whole practice? Because doesn't it make it a lot less effective if they just have to go on Twitter and just be, bitching and moaning on Twitter about stuff like the old days and just not able to kind of... Because the whole thing about this whole review bombing thing is it can fool people.
Yeah.
Is the sneaky tactic. You don't look at this and know it's just trolls. You see a number, and the way this whole system is trained is people just, it's like, I see number, I have feelings about number. And that's what they're using to kind of fool people. So you take that away, and you actually have to see an entire thread of people just complaining or saying crazy stuff. I think it's a different effect.
I think it's a step in the right direction.
I think it decreases the visibility, and for the casual fans, it definitely will help this for a certain subsect of moviegoers. The casual fans, the people who aren't involved in this conversation, even, at all, or just casually. I mean, those are the people who will benefit from it. But for the people in the fandom who are really invested, and unfortunately, the people who are probably going to be most upset or swayed emotionally by these kind of debacles as they come up, I think it might potentially make it worse just for the backlash of the people who are, doing the review bombing. They're going to just probably try to come back with a vengeance on certain methods or certain websites. And that pushback is going to be an interesting one to kind of navigate, I think.
To clean up what I'm saying, I think I was saying what we're taking away essentially is their ability to make headlines. Because
those headlines will go away.
Those headlines will go away, and it'll just go back to the darkness of the internet and those
but they've
who
got
dare
taste.
Because, I mean, was the whole thing about this that was different. They're making headlines.
Yeah.
And
That's
real
the part.
headlines and real trades and outlets picking it up.
Yeah.
Because, So, all right. Well, let's kick the trolls back under the bridge, I guess. And that's a good place to end it all today. So, that's it. And I realize now that I failed at my job to introduce where you can listen to Comic Book Nation. You can find us. You can find new episodes on posts on the site every week. You can also find a link to our RSS feed where you can subscribe. You can subscribe on Stitcher, Spotify, or iTunes, but not Amazon. I'm sorry, Matt.
We're on iHeartRadio now, though, too, aren't we?
We're on iHeartRadio?
Yeah, buddy.
Oh, iHeartRadio.
One step closer to Amazon Music.
Oh, man.
Come on.
Oh, man. I don't know if that's ever been said.
That's his goal.
Also, true to our word, we are looking for people to
Oh.
leave reviews because we have said we would pick a review, read it on air, and the person who left that review would get some Comicbook.com swag.
Are you going to read the review?
Yes, and we have a review today.
Can I do a sound?
Is it going to be like a
Yes,
solid
go
dramatic
ahead.
reading? I'm so excited.
Oh man, we are not going to get reviews. But this review is left by somebody named the White Mamba in reference to.
Yeah, I kind of love
course,
that Kobe Bryant.
Yeah. Well, I guess it's Kobe Bryant. I was thinking more like Kill Bill. I don't know. Either way,
very different. Very different.
I will never rep Kobe Bryant for personal reasons that we will get to in a later episode.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Ooh,
Yeah.
Stay tuned.
Nice tease there. Yeah.
And the White Mamba said, and the title of this review is Best Comic Book Podcast Yet 5 Stars. This podcast is incredible. I've been searching for a great podcast that deals with all aspects of comics, from DC to Marvel to anime, etc. Megan, shout out. I listen to the episodes when I'm at work. It keeps me informed on everything going on. Not to mention, you guys are hilarious. Not only do you guys talk about the general aspects of things, but you go in depth with your own theories. I can't wait to see this podcast evolve and grow. I have my notifications on solely for this podcast, so I know when we have a new episode to watch. Look forward to all the upcoming content you guys share. White Mamba, thank you. It's White Mamba 631. Apparently, there's
Very
a lot
nice.
of them. So this is the 631st White Mamba. But thank you, White Mamba, for that review. We appreciate it. And yeah, I mean, they can tell you this is the only thing that keeps me going sometimes. So thank you, and leave some more.
That review gets 5 out of 5 from me.
Yeah, 5 out of 5.
Boom.
Review over review. Yeah, 5 out of 5.
5 out of 5. Well
So,
said.
if you are a fan and you want to possibly get yourself some comic book swag, be sure to go online somewhere like iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, or iHeartRadio and leave us a review. That'll do it for this week's episode of Comic Book Nation Podcast. If you want to continue the discussion, you can always find us online at the hashtag Comic Book Nation. You can reach me, Kofi Outlaw, at Kofi Outlaw, KOFIOUTLAW.
You can hit me up at Matt Mueller CB.
I'm also on Twitter at Megan Peters CB. Look at us. We
Uniform, yeah.
Yeah,
Cool.
you guys, if you can't see this, they're wearing almost matching outfits, and they have
shining.
almost matching
Cap
Twitter
them all.
handles. You guys, I mean, you guys are cute. I mean, that Power Rangers anime connection is strong here. All right, thank you for riding with us. We will be back in future episodes. The journey will continue. For now, this is Comic Book Nation signing off.
Deuces.
Yeah.